What up, Bulls Nation? We've got a live CHGO Bulls pod coming up for y'all right around the corner. On today's show, Keith Smith, capologist and NBA reporter for Spotrac, has some interesting notes and quotes from Bulls execs and coaches he chatted with out in Vegas during Summer League, plus a couple of ESPN columns, one from Kevin Pelton, another from Zach Kram. Biggest mistakes from 2020 through now for all 30 NBA teams. Do we agree with the Bulls' biggest mistake? And revisiting some of the biggest offseason moves of last year, including the Caruso trade and the DeMar sign-and trade. We're going to break it all down next. I think that was actually Dave Coulier, Katy.
Cut it out.
Cut it out. You're mixing up your Hollywood couples and your songs about breakups.
No, it's called All Too Well. There's a 10-minute version of it.
There's 10 minutes of this?
There's a regular version, and then when she re-released her album, because
after reading her horoscope.
No, stop it. Because I'm not getting into the whole thing, but she had to re-release her album because of some legal stuff with
I know that part.
Yeah.
Sure.
She released like vault tracks, like tracks she'd never released, and one of them was a 10-minute version of this song, and it's amazing. It's amazing. No, you don't. The 10 minutes fly by. It's
How many viewers have we lost so far?
I just want everyone to know that we were not planning to do this. It's just that they were insulting my Taylor Swift
All
knowledge.
I said was
Dog days, Katy.
I literally just said Jake Gyllenhaal. That was it.
That is literally what you said. It's true.
Yeah, apparently that's a trigger.
That's the trigger word.
It is.
I didn't even say
as
it
a
in reference to
Swiftie.
anything other than the movie that he was in.
Just bringing
Zodiac.
up his name apparently is
About the
offensive to a
Zodiac killer.
Swiftie.
Yes,
He
as a
was also in
Swiftie, I'm
Mysterio.
insulted.
Shout
Also in that
So,
movie,
Yeah.
Mark Ruffalo.
Yes, he
Robert
was
Downey
in
Jr.
that movie. That's true.
That's why I said all
I'm
three of
here
their
for
names.
Mark Ruffalo.
Well done.
We're not doing Jake Gyllenhaal.
And we're back.
And we're back. Hey, hi.
Hi.
We never left. What up, Bulls Nation?
I kinda
CHGO
did.
Bulls pod.
I was gone.
Coming to
was
y'all
out.
live from our studios here in West Loop, downtown Chicago. Peck, Bulls_Peck. That's
Bow.
Big Day. Bow. BWL Sports. Will the Go Gottlieb. Perfectly coiffed. Will_Gottlieb. And Queen of the Controls and Queen of the Taylor Swift Takes. Katy Duffy.
What's up?
What's up?
Hi.
What's up?
I used
Read
all my
me your
words
horoscope,
for the day.
Katy.
I used all my words for the day. I'm
Oh, my God. What are we doing here? Okay.
You're gonna die.
Remember yesterday when Matt was like, dog days.
Yeah.
Dog days.
Yeah, in love, right? You were 8 too.
Love dog days,
We
y'all.
were so happy about it
Oh,
yesterday, and now that I'm
goodness.
pitching you dog day content, you're like,
Okay,
I'm gonna
you
laugh
pitched me
about
the Zodiac Killer.
Don't spoil
Pitched
it.
me the Zodiac Killer.
Don't spoil it. But if
I don't
we
know
have,
what they know about Bulls basketball. All right. We do have some fun slop to talk about today. Let's start with Keith Smith, friend of the pod, great capologist and NBA reporter for Spotrac. He had notes for every Eastern Conference team that he put up yesterday, this morning, sometime recently. And he's got some interesting quotes, some of which kind of sound familiar to what we've heard before, and some of it that's new and interesting. So let's start with the one that is about the Bulls having a quiet offseason. Quote, I won't say it was by design, but we knew we weren't likely to make any blockbuster moves either. But we're happy with what we did, and we're still actively looking at other options too, end quote, a Bulls front office executive said. Which Bulls front office executive, we don't know, but a Bulls front office executive. I think they, even with the patience from the fans and all that, I think most Bulls fans who have a solid head on their shoulders, we're not expecting any big bonanza offseason to happen. No. So the interesting part to me, Dave, is when he said, I won't say it was by design. It's like, because to me as a Bulls fan, I think it was very much by design that you had yourself a pretty quiet offseason. Somewhere between by design and the fact that you're kind of stuck where you are and can't do much of anything.
Yeah, it felt like it was by design.
Do you call that by design?
Yeah,
Like-
I would call that by design. Like, I painted myself into a corner now, and I must wait for it to dry.
Yeah.
That's by design. Like, it didn't just happen to you. You did it. So, yeah, that's interesting to hear that they were like, it's not by design. It makes me wonder, well, what was the plan? What were you guys thinking about doing and trying to do
Right.
this offseason? As I said, I gave them credit, and I still give them credit, yes, for how they're handling certain things in this offseason. But saying stuff like that just got like, come on, man. I'm trying to give you something here.
Like, I think they would have, like, I'm not saying I know this, but I feel like if Giannis was made available, they would have, like, tried to get Giannis.
Yeah, but that's not by design. That's anybody in the NBA.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, when you're saying, you know,
if Luka showed up,
we weren't likely to make any blockbuster moves. Like, that was going to be the thing that would have
plan?
broken the design.
Okay,
Yeah.
the
You see what
blockbuster move
exactly.
would have just said, okay, we'll forget what we're going to do. We're going to move in this direction because
Exactly.
we have
That's
a chance
like one
to
of
get
those
this
things
star.
where it just like it rattles you and you have to like make a decision.
All right.
Yeah.
To me, what's interesting about this one though is that again, it implies that what they've said publicly at press conferences about them having financial flexibility next year. Presumably, what that means is cap space, and yet we've talked about Isaac Okoro and Trey Jones cutting into that cap space for next year, and how those numbers don't seem huge, but it's almost $20 million that you can't give to a free agent now.
Yeah.
Whether that's, you know, in the form of a $20 million player or lumping that on to whatever the other amount that you end up creating is. And Giddey will obviously do the same thing. So to me, I think it's expected to hear something like this, that like they weren't planning to do anything major. They were going to take the patient approach, as they said, unless maybe something else came up. But what's interesting to me is that just like this doesn't really connect with the idea that they're going to be a max free agent destination next summer. And when you look at the signings that they did make or the trade that they made, like that affects that.
Right. Meaning the signing Trey Jones to a multi-year deal, bringing in Isaac Okoro, who is not an expiring but did have an additional year on his contract, and that cutting into the cap space plan of 26.
It's like $19.8 million there on the books next year that wasn't there before. And like people were like dogging me on Twitter about that one. It's like
That's a
max
non-trivial
contract,
amount of money
that's
to
a
put
huge amount of
towards
money.
what is these days in the NBA, huge figure on a legitimate maximum contract.
yeah,
offer.
a max contract, a 30% max is $60 million. That's like a third of a max contract.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The other thing that kind of goes along with what we were talking about on yesterday's show, and like, could there still be some trade candidates on this Bulls roster right now? So this executive saying we're still actively looking at other options too. To me, that tracks. I would not be surprised if the Bulls are still making and or receiving calls about maybe making one or two more tweaks to this roster before it becomes a final 15, while also knowing they still got to deal with that Giddey contract. Not that that's a roadblock on trades, but, you know, how much are you juggling at once? The last piece of this quote that I will comment on is but we're happy with what we did. Are you? Because you signed Trey Jones. That's what you did.
Isaac Okoro.
That's your off. Okay, sure. Sorry, I forgot about the Lonzo for Okoro trade.
Noah Essengate?
Okay, fine.
Hey.
Lachlan Olbrich.
Yeah.
I
left that one just for you. See how I be looking out like right there.
Okay, yeah, so if you want to add some footnotes to what we did this offseason, like, yeah, okay, I guess you can, you know, put all that in a pile and call it a day. To me, it's just another very, like, they're not going to come out and say, actually, we're pretty disappointed in our offseason performance as executives so far. Because why would you? You proudly are the owner of a new contract extension. But Bulls fans can't, maybe some Bulls fans are happy with what they've done with the trade. I know some Bulls fans like the Lonzo for Okoro trade. I am not one of them. Some Bulls fans do.
C-Red Fred is definitely
Shout
one.
out.
I don't think C-Red
He's
Fred has
president
ever
of the
liked
Okoro
anything
fan
more
club
than
now.
He likes that trade,
But it's
like
like
basketball or otherwise.
it's like, well, okay, we re-signed Trey
don't know.
Jones.
All right.
We drafted a big old 18-year-old project with the 12th pick.
How big, man?
Big old project.
Gotcha.
And we traded Lonzo for Okoro. Time to rest on our laurels. It's like, man, get out of here with that.
I don't know if they're well, that's hard to say if they're resting on laurels or not. But yeah, like just saying what you did and you like what you did and you're happy with what you did, it's okay to say. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't have a problem with them saying, hey, man, we like what we did and we're happy with what we did. Because like you said, a lot of Bulls fans are. There are definitely several Bulls fans that like these moves, that enjoy what Isaac Okoro could bring to this team, that enjoy Noah Essengay and watching what he did in Summer League. Some of them even like the latchkey kid that they got in the second round. Like, they like him too. You know what I mean? So, yeah. That's fine. That's okay. I don't have a problem with you saying that you like it. I think it's different for me this year than other years is because I can actually agree with some of that. Mm-hmm. Whereas in the past, if you said these same things, which they have,
right,
I was like, what are you smoking? What are you looking at? Like, what is going on? But now I could be like, oh, okay. And maybe it's just me because it feels good to be able to be like, you know what? Yeah. All right. I see what you did. You did something logical that I agree with. And even how you're going about the Josh Giddey signing, I agree with as well. It feels good to be on that kind of page with them. Not in the car kind of on the same page with them, but actually seeing the car ride by and saying, I might want to get in that one day.
Okay, we good? Next quote.
Next one.
We don't have to spend too much time on this because we are going to circle back to the Caruso Giddey trade, talking about ESPN stuff later, and we talked a lot about Giddey yesterday. Not a lot new here, but on Josh Giddey, Bulls front office exec said, quote, "We want to get a deal done with Josh. He's as important of a player as we have. We see him as a foundational player for us. I hope we can find a deal that makes sense for us and him, and that we'll be together for a long time." End quote. End of Matt's happiness. Look, we heard AK say similar things on his anonymous broadcast interview during, I think, Game 2 out in Vegas. So whether this was AK or somebody else, very much along the party line. Josh is important to what we're doing here, foundational player, as important of a player as we have. Like that, or be skeptical of that, or hate that as a Bulls fan, that is the party line right now, despite the fact that the two sides are still at odds on the contract.
And I feel like it also gives you a little bit of insight into or relief from the argument that some people have brought up, which I disagree with. But it is that lowballing him is going to signal to him that he's not welcome here, that they don't want him here,
right,
that you're going to offend him. It's possible that two things can be true. The Bulls really like Josh and they want to keep him around, and that they view him as important of a player as that they have, while also not wanting to do a disservice to themselves by giving him more money than they should. So both things can be true, and I think this really speaks to that.
Yeah, agreed. I agree with that.
Next one down, also from Keith Smith's Summer League notes. This one on Matas, perking me back up. I'm happy again. Quote, "He's going to be really, really good. He wants it so damn bad. This kid pushes himself so hard, and you see that on the floor too, but it's the quiet moments when you see him work. He's wildly intense about getting better and improving," end quote, said a Bulls coach. So Summer League coach or coach, I'm not sure. But anytime I hear somebody who has gotten to know Matas since being drafted into this organization a year ago say stuff like this, as someone who's hanging a lot of their hopes on Matas as a Bulls fan, I'm like, give me every single quote that sounds like this.
Yeah, I mean,
we've seen it ourselves. We're lucky enough to get those glimpses too. But it just, anytime you get validation from somebody who's working with Matas, coaching Matas, it's all the same message.
When we had the interview, Will and I had the interview with Matas last year after it was over, Flex. After it was over, and we walked down, I told Will, I was like, dude, he's insane. Yeah. And I meant that in the most positive way possible. Bro, he is crazy because of the work ethic. You know what I mean? He really, 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 truly wants to be the best. Not the best on the team, not the best in the conference. He wants to be the best in the league. He wants to be the best ever. And that's how he is going about it. You know, it's one thing to say it. It's another thing to do it. He is really going about it and showing, what he needs to do and what it takes to actually get to those levels. So, and that's what the coach is kind of hitting on right here. It's not just that. It's the quiet moments when no one's looking, when no one's around. That's when the work is being put in by that young man, dude. And we should be proud to have him wearing a Chicago Bulls jersey, for real.
Fine day in the chat. I'm really excited to see how Matas develops over the summer. Hope he lives in the gym. Our guy Fish saying, we love Matas. Yes, we do. You know what else we love at CHGO Bulls? Showing y'all some ads of fine products and services, and then asking for likes while you're doing that. Hit the like. Vamp. Vam.
What is that?
Katie's like, ad break. Vam. Katy needs a second.
Katy needs a
Katy
second.
also
Can
needs her
I
likes.
give my quick take on the
Katy needs a
Matas thing?
Yeah, go for it, Goat.
This is so different from the way that they were handling and treating and talking about him last year. Last year, they were being cautious. They didn't want to put him on the posters. They didn't want to like overburden him. They didn't want to start him right away.
Yeah.
They were being really cautious. I think they were optimistic, but they're now talking about him like privately or whatever you'd call this, like as he's going to be really good.
guy.
Like I think that speaks to their view of him, obviously as a player, but also within the organization as like, this is the foundational piece.
This has been Goat's Vamp Takes. Now ads. Hit the like.
Zodiac. Sunnyside. Cannabis dispensary. Smoothness and coolness. It's your home for judgment-free cannabis shopping, a place where all kinds of visitors are welcome to explore, discover, and purchase a wide array of high-quality hydroponics in the city. They've got everything you're going to need to elevate your summer, winter, spring, and fall. It's your one-stop shop for all your cannabis needs. Sunnyside has that expertly curated menu with over 100 strains to choose from, plus easy online ordering and in-store pickup. If you're just starting out, Sunnyside has expert guidance on brands that we know that you'll love, like Good News, Peck approved, and Mindy's. You can visit Sunnyside.shop for bright buys every day, including 50% off your first 3 months. Use this promo code HICHGO at checkout to qualify. Exclusions apply, and for existing users, use that promo code CHGO50 for 50% off of one Cresco Labs brand item. Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary, bright buys every day, only for 21 and over or Illinois Med card holders.
Today's show also brought to you by Arena Club. Are you looking to buy, sell, trade, and rip open packs of cards? Arena Club is changing the card collecting hobby with their transparent slab packs and no-fee auctions. You got to check out these slab packs. You can rip open a pack for as low as $25 and hit on a card worth tens of thousands of dollars. Arena Club is the most trusted name in the game, offering full transparency, showing every card in the pack with the likelihood of pulling each one so you know exactly what's available before you buy. And if you're heading to the 45th National Sports Collectors Convention, be sure to stop by the Arena Club booth, all happening July 30th, tick, through August 3rd, 2025 at Donald E. Stevens Convention Center in Rosemont, Illinois. Right now, you can get 20% off your first slab pack or card purchase by going to arenaclub.com/CHGO with promo code CHGO. Rolling along CHGO Bulls live on Tuesday afternoon. Peck, Big Dave, Goat, Katy. Katy, any other Jake Gyllenhaal takes we need to get out of the way before we dive back in?
No, we can discuss after the show.
Okay, cool. Next quote from Keith Smith's Summer League Notes talking to various Bulls personnel. This comment came from a Bulls coach speaking about the roster as a whole. Quote, last year we played pretty fast. I think we can play even faster next season. Bold take. Our roster is built for it, and you saw with Indiana and OKC in the finals that playing with pace is so important. We're going to get after it on defense, force turnovers, and then get out and run. That suits Matas and Noah as our young forwards and all of our guards really well. We also think that Isaac Okoro will benefit in a more up-tempo style too. There's untapped potential there. End quote. Go. I'm going to pitch this to you first because I know you've talked a lot about the whole, like, the Bulls comparing themselves to the Pacers and or Thunder, the two teams that went to the finals with, like, look, see? Teams that play fast win. Well, yeah, the Bulls played fast, but they also, it's not like they were, like, crushing it as far as the offensive rating last season. They were a middling, if that, offense while playing fast. So to hear another coach make that parallel, what do you think?
I mean, I think it's interesting that they're saying that they think they can play faster because, as we've talked about, they're going to need to. Like, I don't think it's going to work again to just play at the same pace while everybody else catches up to them. To their credit, they were ahead of the curve. Like, I think their desire to get out and run was, like, before – I mean, it was on – the Pacers were already kind of doing it, but, like, it was before all these other teams got that same idea, realized the power of it, and now are going to adapt their game to it. And so if you're, you know, sacrificing half-court defense and, you know, not getting not being able to, like, contribute as much in that half-court offense because you've over-indexed on transition, and now all these other teams are catching up to you in transition, are you going to be able to still compete with them? And so I think the only answer is to lean into it even further. And that's something that Billy and I have talked about before. Is like, you need to really go full bore into it in order to be successful. You can't hedge out and expect to still be as productive. So I think it'll just be interesting to see how much more they can get out of it. Hopefully they're right about Isaac Okoro. Like I do think that just avoiding half-court situations where he's standing in the corner waiting to catch and shoot threes is going to be good for him in terms of his confidence and just touching the ball and making decisions with it and not being forced to do something he's not great at. And so I do think that all these guys, whether it's Matas and Noah, who they mentioned, or Giddey or Coby or whoever else, like all those guys can benefit. But again, that's like at most 15 or 20% of the total game. So how are you producing in the half court during the other 80% of the game? And I still don't know that there is an answer to that, but maybe they're just not at a point in their kind of build where they need to have that answer right now. For now, it's just about getting the most out of what they do have.
Yes, that's exactly what I was going to say. Like, they shouldn't even be worried about that stuff right now. They're still honestly learning how to walk in this. I agree 100% with you saying that it's something they need to lean into. I mean, if a three-point shot is all a guy has, then take 20 of them. You know, don't just say, well, you know, maybe I should work on, you know, my mid-range game. No, bro, shoot these threes. Get that together. I think this is the right way for them to come out and to think. And I see it in my head already because we saw it on the screen during that second half of the year. Get that rebound, probably Josh Giddey, getting that rebound, starting to break, getting out, and running. That's exactly what they need to do. It also makes me wonder, hearing this, who's the center? Who's playing the five? Because it doesn't feel like Vooch is going to be a part of that kind of offense that's getting in and running. Are they going to be cheating with Matas there? Is Zach Collins going to be more so in that role? Do they still feel anything about a guy like Jalen Smith? How much Essengay, you know what I mean?
Really fun
like,
question.
For real. Like, is Essengay, you know what I'm saying, going to take some of the time? Is he going to get some kind of tick out there with this team? Like, it just makes me wonder all those kind of questions because I know Matas and Giddey and Coby and Okoro are going to be out there on the floor, or even Io, you know, or even Trey Jones, whoever you want to put. But it just makes me really wonder who is that big man that's going to be running with you, especially if Giddey is the one getting those rebounds and starting to break. That means that big fella got to be moving.
How do you feel about Jalen Smith, Bulls? We don't.
Yeah, I need to know.
We feel no feelings.
I need to know because they would like them in the beginning, and then we didn't see them at all in the second half.
It's a valid question. I will say, though, in defense of the Mr. Long and the Tooth, Vooch ran.
He did.
With that younger team this past season.
Second
Especially,
half.
you know, like there was a little minute, I think, after the trade deadline where he was like, I'm still here?
Yes.
What? But other than that little dip, he was a dutiful soldier and was willing to get out and run and, you know, play that, you know, trailer
And he
role a
benefited
lot of
from
times
it.
and benefited from it.
He did. And Father Time catches up with us all.
Right.
And
Yeah.
he had one of the best years of his career. And how much stock are we putting into that part? Because we know why he was having that. Because he was trying to get up out of here.
Yeah.
Knowing that he's still here, you know, what kind of Vooch are we going to see? Again, this is why I can't wait for the season to start. Because all these questions are getting answered from game one.
Yeah.
Like, I can't wait for this, bro. Seriously.
The other thing about mentioning Okoro specifically, and we also heard AK talk about defensive identity. That may have been a 670 interview he did, not the one he did on the broadcast, but and that being a big reason why they liked the Okoro trade.
Yeah.
I'm curious. You know, I think I made some quick yesterday when we weren't really talking about that specifically, but like Lonzo Ball, elite defensive player. Isaac Okoro, slightly different model, who has hung his hat through the first stage of his NBA career on the defensive end. And Go, you were just talking about his limited offensive identity in Cleveland through the first part of his career. How much faith can Bulls fans have in Isaac Okoro being a like linchpin in establishing a defensive identity for a team that didn't have much of one last season?
I think he's going to have to be. Like that's kind of what
primary
they're
assignment
banking
every
on.
night.
Yeah, I think so. And there's a lot of options there for the starting lineup. Obviously, I think you can pencil Josh and Coby in as the two primary guards.
Yes.
I imagine Matas will be there, and I imagine Vooch will be there. So at the three, you have options of Okoro. Kevin Huerter started a bunch of games last year, and probably Io right now, who is still in the roster, as we talked about, may or may not be. So I think it just kind of depends on what like combinations Billy feels the best about. I think there's probably going to be like some hockey lineups where it's like 5 on, or just, you know, maybe it's the whole backcourt comes off. Maybe it's like Josh and Coby get split up a little bit, but then close games together. But like Io and Trey to me is like a tough one because they're very similar. So you probably want to have a little bit more shooting in there. Io, Trey, and Okoro probably does not make much sense at all. So maybe you want Herter in there. So it'll just be interesting to see what kind of combinations Billy goes with. But every time we've like discussed even the idea that Io might be out of the rotation, or that Io might not be part of the future of this team, or that Io might not be like one of the more important backcourt players on the roster, like he's just stepped up and played even better. Like Io just does that.
True.
And so I'm certainly not counting him out as a starter, as like a primary guy moving forward, a building block for this team. But I do think that for what the Bulls seem to be looking for, that Okoro does make sense in the starting lineup, just with Coby and Giddey also there, because Io was so good at pushing the tempo, getting the ball up the court, and like you have Giddey and Coby to do that. And I was also a great defender, but like Okoro just doesn't seem like he would need the ball quite as much and be able to fill the wings a little bit more. And then maybe you give Io even more responsibility with the second unit, or pull Josh and you put Io in there with Coby and Herter or something like that, and really juice up the offense. So I think that versatility and that lineup flexibility is a good problem to have. But I do wonder, just like, I mean, Okoro you bring in presumably to take on that primary defensive assignment in the starting unit, but like he could also just be like the 10th man. There's just a lot of guys in that backcourt especially that Billy really trusts. We saw that with Trey, we saw that with Io, we saw that with Herter.
Yeah, he's going to have to earn some of that trust. And I keep forgetting about Kevin Herter. When you just said his
he's
name,
here.
I completely forgot.
Herter was really
about
good with
Kevin.
the Bulls.
And yeah, he was really good. And he didn't do anything to lose, honestly, his position out there on the floor. And he earned, like you said, that trust from Billy. I'm curious as to what trust Isaac Okoro is going to get coming in here, because on paper it looks like he should be that starter for all the reasons you just kind of stated. But the Velvet is lurking. I don't know what the Velvet did wrong to make you say, hey, he shouldn't be in this lineup getting this start.
It's just crazy. Everywhere you look, trying to figure out this Bulls roster, it's like, oh, well, that problem stems from that problem and that problem. I'm not trying to be, but just talking about Okoro's role and where he might be in the rotation. Like, yeah, assumed starting five, right? He's your 3. Matas is your 4. Old man Vooch is your 5. Coby and Josh, there we go. But like, maybe not. Maybe he doesn't get that trust from Billy right out of the gate. Maybe he's towards the back end of the rotation.
Right.
And to me, that signals, then why the heck did you trade for this guy? Unless everybody, Billy included, was on board with this being the guy you needed.
Correct.
Because who did you give up to get him? Lonzo Ball. What did we hear about certain offers being turned down for Lonzo Ball at the trade deadline right after they re-signed him? Picks. Again, it's like it's the same conversation.
Yeah.
And wait, who's the 3? Who's taking the primary defensive assignment? Oh, it's the new guy, Isaac Okoro. Why? Oh, because Patrick Williams is here and getting paid and doing nothing?
Dog days.
Everywhere you look, everywhere you look.
You know, this is dog days, because during the season, this would have been an explosion right about
it's just
now.
like, I'm
and
trying
now
to
in the
wrap
dog
my
days,
head around what
you're
they're
not.
doing. And I'm like, there's a problem, there's a problem, there's a problem, there's
That's
a
the problem with not
never know what
getting
you're
two-way
doing.
players. Like you have these guys that are either defense or offensive specialists,
Yeah.
and it's just tough to like get the perfect lineup out of that.
Yeah,
but
you have
even
3
like
of those guys, and you need them to be one.
But think about like the way the Bulls ended the season. They were playing really well, obviously, and they seemed to have like a lot of depth at guard. And that was Io was out for the season, Trey was out for the season, Lonzo was out for the season. Now you bring back Lonzo, or you bring back Trey and Io, and Lonzo, who was like, I mean, he's played 35 games in the last 3 years for the Bulls. Like he's just not really a fixture of that rotation anymore. And you replace him with Okoro, who's also getting a lot of those minutes and a lot of that responsibility. So you still have Herter there, you still have Coby, you still have Giddey. There's just a lot of mouths to feed, and I think part of the Bulls want to play faster, can we get even faster, is maybe going to be we're turning down all these guys' minutes a little bit so that they can go that much harder. You know, if Coby and Giddey are playing 32 minutes instead of 35 or 30 minutes instead of 35, can they play that much harder now because they get those extra minutes of break?
That's true.
Bulls all day in the chat saying this is Billy's roster this time. He loves small ball. All those guys will get minutes. Shout out to Colin who said just tuned in. All I instantly was a hat throw. There you go, Colin. That was for you. Apologies if the hats don't line up. When we go to this ad break, hit the like. Katy, do we need to vamp? Here's some ads.
Few rules in life, ladies and gentlemen. One main one, never touch my hat. Just don't do it. You can give me a hug. I'll take that, but don't touch me. It's also a rule. But hugs, don't touch. And don't get biffed. Don't do that. Never get biffed, ladies and gentlemen. Get that shop at home convenience that you can only get from our people at Empire Today. They are flooring experts, dedicating flooring professionals whose focus is on flooring every single day of the week. With Empire Today, you get that clear upfront and all-inclusive pricing. Plus, you can schedule an installation as soon as the next day. Schedule a free in-home estimate today because some things are just better at home. CHGO listeners, you can receive that $350 discount when you use this promo code CHGO. That's a $350 discount with the promo code CHGO. Restrictions apply. Visit EmpireToday.com/CHGO for full details. 588-2300. Go!
Empire Today.
Today's show also brought to you by Four Seasons Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric. Summer is here. It is a hot week here in Chicago, so you need AC that is reliable in your home. Four Seasons has been serving Chicagoland for over 50 years. Now is the time to get your AC checked out. Four Seasons experts are ready to help you with AC installation, maintenance, and repair. Their expert technicians ensure you always receive reliable service, and Four Seasons doesn't charge more for service during nights, weekends, or even holidays. Celebrate! Save up to $4,000 on new comfort systems with Four Seasons. New AC units from $39 a month. AC furnace combos, just $57 a month. They're your trusted local experts. Four Seasons Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric. Visit FourSeasonsHeatingCooling.com for all their special offers and money-saving coupons. That's FourSeasonsHeatingCooling.com. Because Dave, for all the right reasons.
Call 866-4-Seasons.
We roll along. CHGO Bulls. It's Tuesday afternoon. Hit that like button if you didn't do it during the ad break. Katie, I'm guessing that this like ratio is not quite where you want it to be.
I'm
Never
not
is.
happy with it.
Katie's not happy
there
with
are
it.
187 people watching,
Shout out.
which means that I'd like 100 likes, and we're only at 65.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's right.
That is a disgusting one-third
Why is there-
of the viewers.
Why is there even, like, why can't it always just be the exact amount of people watching, there are the exact number of likes?
It should be.
You would
Great.
think.
It should be a
That's what it
1-to-1
should be.
ratio.
You would
Yeah.
think.
Except for maybe, I admit, my guess is Cole Krug did not give us a like, who said in the chat just before we went to ads, Bulls top 5 seed, Kobe All-NBA, Bulls better than Hawks. See ya, haters.
All right.
I like
Love
that.
you, Cole
Shout
Krug.
out. Shout
out,
out, sir.
to you.
Yes. This
Come
is that
back.
time of year for all of that, baby.
Come back and show us your work on that take.
He's in,
I would
he's in
love
dog
to
days
hear
mode too.
All days, bro.
it. Also, of all teams, better than, like, dude, the Hawks just had a killer offseason.
They had a pretty good offseason, man.
Maybe
Pretty
the Bulls
good.
will face him in the play-in tournament again?
Yeah,
Maybe not.
it could be. It could be a
Maybe
thing.
the Hawks are going to leapfrog into the actual big boy playoffs.
Might go up there a little bit. Shout out to Shirtless Wonder doing his thing.
They've played the Raptors, the Hawks, and the Heat. Is that it? Those
Yeah,
are the
I
three?
believe so. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
So who's the other, like, just perennial middle feeder that they could possibly play next year?
Perennial middle feeder.
You like that one?
Out, sir.
It's a really good band
Shout
name.
out.
It is, yeah. Or just like someone who eats at Burger King every day. It's like, it's not the best, it's not the worst.
Like, I wonder how many
Yeah.
teams have been
Whopper's
in the
solid.
East playing.
I would kill for a Whopper to be
Oh,
on this
man.
Bull squad right now. Oh, maybe even the Burger King King, the cartoon
Yeah.
with the big head.
Oh man, I forgot he was having a run.
He can ball.
Yeah, he can hoop. He
All right, what are we doing next? Yes. Okay, so there was another Coby White quote in there, but I think it's pretty similar to what we've heard before. Contract is what it is. We can't extend him based on the rules of what we'd extend him on now. He knows how we feel about him is the other interesting thing that anonymous Bulls exec said about Coby. So, still TBD on that, but obviously Josh is the primary focus for the Bulls front office right now. Moving on, this was Zach Kram of ESPN,
Kram.
who had a ranking all 30 teams' biggest roster mistakes since 2020.
Ooh.
That is the year that AK and Eversley took power after Pax and Gar stepped down /
Took
were fired.
power. That
Huh?
took power is
Took
a
power.
crazy way to say that.
Accepted the roles of
Unlimited power.
VP of basketball ops and general manager. Is that
It sounds like they
that go down a little
overthrew
smoother, Katie?
Until
somebody.
they went to the dark side.
yeah, I mean, it wasn't like a coup. John was like, "Hey, Jerry, you gotta let me
Let the
fire
hate
myself,
flow
man."
through you.
And then they found
overthrew
these
a
guys.
king or something.
Hey, flow through
Anyway.
you, child.
Anyway, same year that AK and Eversley took
Everything's
these
going
roles as the
according to
Bulls
plan.
front office brain trust. The Bulls were
66.
in this list. I was initially surprised, but then the more I thought about it, the more I think it's a solid take that does make sense. Zach Kram believes that the biggest roster mistake that AK and Eversley have made since 2020 was making the Vooch trade, acquiring him from Orlando in the middle of one of his best seasons in 2021. Kram made note that this mistake this decade might be a broader one as they continually aim for the middle of the standings rather than following the tank and rebuild cycle that most NBA teams employ when they have little hope of contention. Speaking of those middle feeders go. But Chicago's malaise began with the Vooch trade, the first of lead exec AK's tenure, which sent Wendell and 2 future firsts, both of which landed in the lottery, to Orlando in exchange for Vooch. Vooch, a solid player, 2-time All-Star, was in the midst of a career season in Orlando when he was traded, but because of his defensive difficulties, there's a firm ceiling on a team with Vooch in the middle. So his acquisition symbolizes the Bulls' larger lack of ambition. Bars.
Damn.
Indeed, Chicago finished with a total of 1 playoff win with Vooch, DeMar DeRozan, and Zach LaVine. Also pointing out, meanwhile, Orlando used the first of those 2 draft picks they got from the Bulls on Franz Wagner, who would have been the best young player in Chicago since Jimmy Butler.
Damn.
And then also he dinged the Magic for spending that other pick they got from the Bulls on Jet Howard, who not exactly the same impact that Franz Wagner has had for them, putting it kindly. But so, guys, fair or foul to say that of all of the missteps when constructing their roster or their various iterations of attempts at constructing a roster, making the trade in the first place was the biggest?
What are the other contenders before we?
Good question.
I don't want to have
So
that.
I can think of a
Makes
couple.
Matt sad.
I would say obviously the Caruso for Giddey trade, which we'll talk about later. Trading the 2025 top 10, top 8 protected pick to the Spurs for DeMar DeRozan when he was an unrestricted free agent. The Zach LaVine max contract, you could say the Vooch re-sign, the $60 million extension over 3 years.
I still defend the Zach LaVine one. It was the best of a bunch of bad options to sign him to that deal, I think.
Sure, but they didn't have to give him a player option. They didn't have to give him the
Right.
trade kicker. They didn't have to give
For
him
sure.
all the
Yes.
bells and whistles.
Correct.
I agree, though. That was just kind of like the situation that they were in. I'm trying to think if there are any other. I mean, really, it's like there's a bucket for like the moves that they made, and then there's a bucket for like the moves that they didn't make.
Yeah.
And that would be another, like the Caruso stuff, not trading him, not trading Zach, not trading DeMar, not trading Vooch when they had the opportunity to do so.
Drafting Pat fourth.
Pat,
Like
the
that
Pat,
was
the
in
Pat
2020.
extension turned out to be a really bad
Pat
deal.
extension.
There's so many to choose from. I would say though,
A bevy of options.
I would say though that like that Vooch trade was a very pivotal moment in Bulls history, on par with like trading Jimmy Butler, I would say, where like it sent them down this pathway that led to all those other moves that we've had disagreements with. Overpaying for a guy who's having the best season of his career after age 30, who has known limitations. And look, I think Vooch has been like really solid for the Bulls, but it's just like the cost and the player, the cost to get the player are like two things that you can't separate. That's why we're having these conversations about Giddey, because of the cost to get him. And I think that does, fair or not, factor into how we view Vooch as a player. And again, I think Vooch has been really solid. Obviously has had his ups and downs shooting the ball. I do think that Kram is right to say that like there's just a ceiling on him in terms of what you can be as a team because of his defense. But like the Bulls have had a top 5 defense in the league with Vooch starting and playing, 82 games. So I don't think that like Vooch is a bad player, and I don't necessarily think that the trade for him as an idea was wrong, but the cost to get him was wrong. And I think that is what really sets you back. If you only give up the 1 pick instead of the 2, now you're not giving up the 2025 pick for DeMar, you can give up your 2023 pick if you absolutely must. And then you're not trading Zach LaVine to get your own pick back. You're getting a real asset there instead of just accumulating back your own picks to get, out from under that. So on top of it, Franz obviously turned into like a fringe all-star player. He's going to be an absolute star in this league. And that makes it probably hurt a little bit more. But for me, it's all about the cost. And I think overpaying on the margins has been a consistent theme with this front office. And that's how they've ended up having to overpay to get out from under that stuff.
Dread's in the comments saying, but Wendell hasn't grown to be much. So was it that bad? Granted, I am tired of Vooch. And again, I think revisiting it, Dave, I'm not sure how you feel. I was not heartbroken when they made that trade and like the fact that Wendell was a part of it.
Yeah.
I had stopped, firmly planting myself on Wendell Believer Island. I think a little while before that trade happened. I was high on him his rookie year, and then it was sort of a gradual decline.
Yeah.
It's the 2 picks that, thinking back to it, what could have been, that really hurts when you know that's what you gave up. And as Zach Kram pointed out in his explanation, Vooch being a centerpiece, along with the other bold move to bring in DeMar and construct that roster, you capped out as a team that lost in the first round in 5 games.
Yeah.
With 1 playoff appearance.
Yeah.
That's a lot to pay for that yield.
True. I don't disagree with any of your statements or your logic, but for me, it's Patrick Williams.
Listening?
That
the pick or the
pick,
the extension?
The pick for me. For me, everything was kind of relying and riding on him developing and growing into that guy that they drafted from the beginning. And we haven't seen even half of what they thought that they were going to get from a guy like Patrick Williams. We don't have these worries or conversations about Vooch's defense if Patrick Williams was that dude. We don't have these worries about the Bulls' offense or guys playing in the half court if Patrick Williams kind of grew into that guy. Vooch was Vooch. We already knew what he kind of was. I didn't mind the trade. I celebrated the trade. I was very happy because I'm always a guy who's erring on the side of a team trying to win. That's a I'm trying to win move, and I would never fault them for doing something like that. Yes, I agree with 100% what you're saying. What they gave up was a lot. They gave up 2 first-round picks, and when they said, I said, damn, that's damn. But all right, and then I was like, no, but all right, no. They got a good player, fine. All right, let me see what else they're going to do. And you got back, a guy who was super talented, who was going to at least get you to the playoffs. I mean, like you said, having him being a liability on defense is still a guy that gets you to a playoff.
Yeah.
He still is going to do that because he is a really good basketball player at what he does. But nothing set them back further than Patrick Williams not developing into what they expected him to be. It's why people still talk about Tyrese Halliburton in the draft. It's the same reason.
Yeah.
They still have that discussion because of it. So it's what sets you back because of what he was supposed to be on this team, the Band-Aid or the salve he was supposed to be for this team. Now, injuries occurred. Of course, he hurt his wrist. We were there when that happened. Those things set him back for sure. But he just hasn't developed into that guy that the Bulls needed a number 4 pick to develop into that, they can rest on.
And that 2020 draft class wasn't great.
No.
As far as recent draft classes go. But even still, Dave, talking about how much they needed Pat to hit and he didn't. I mean, and this exercise is now even more hilarious given recent transactions from the Bulls. But just going after number 4, who would you rather have, Pat or Isaac Okoro?
Why not both?
Who would you rather have, Pat or Onyeka Okongwu? Killian Hayes, Obi Toppin, big role in a team that just went to the finals. Denny Avdia, sorry, see Red Fred, my friend, can't call him Denny Average anymore.
Cannot.
That dude is cooking.
Yeah.
Like
I wanted
quasi
Avdia,
all-star
by the way.
season incoming.
I wanted Avia.
Jalen Smith, we got him too, no worries. Devin Vassell, Halliburton, Neesmith, Cole Anthony, Beef Stew, Josh Green, Sadiq Bey, Precious Achua, Tyrese Maxey, Zeke Naji, Quickly, Peyton Pritchard, like Jaden McDaniels, Desmond Payne. Yeah, it wasn't a great draft class,
Those are some players, though.
but
bro.
those are some players.
And you're naming guys who
all of which would be more useful to the Bulls
Yeah.
than Pat was last season or really arguably at any point.
Like, you're naming guys who are on Eastern Conference rosters who definitely contributed to why those teams made playoff runs of any kind. Like, you just named 2 Indiana Pacers right there immediately, man. Like, no, it stands out. Even Beef Stew, he's vitally important to that team, just their culture and how they roll. So, yeah, man, it was a misstep, all right, and it didn't pan out. And if you want to throw the contract in there, sure, that they gave him for that, fine. You could do that too as well.
I think I fault them more for the extensions for both Vooch and for Pat than the deals in the first place.
The doubling down on the
Think
mistake
about,
is more egregious than the initial mistake.
Exactly.
I'll stay.
Think about like if instead of at 7, the Warriors drafted Jonathan Kuminga. Instead, they had drafted Franz, and now Kuminga's going to the Magic. Like, are you feeling as bad about the Vooch trade? So much of it is just like the draft is really hard and it's a crapshoot. And I feel that way about Patrick too, to a certain extent. Like, I didn't hate their justification for taking him. Obviously, it didn't work out.
I was a Pat fan. Listen, dude, I was for it.
But
all right?
I do agree with that point. I think that's fair.
We got to knock out one more quick ad break. When we come back on the other side, we'll dive into another ESPN NBA column that was a bunch of fun, revisiting big offseason moves of 2024. Hit the like now.
I, too, like to live dangerously.
Today's show brought to you by Ray! Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram. Now is your chance to score a great deal at the Employee Pricing Plus sales event. Right now, lease the new 2025 Ram 1500 Bighorn Crew Cab for only $399 a month for 27 months. Plus, shop over 125 vehicles priced under $20,000. The expert team at Ray CDJR is here to help you during each step of your car shopping journey. They prioritize affordability. You know you won't overpay for the vehicle you need. And with that always there, Ray's price promise, you can shop confidently knowing there will be no add-ons and no hidden fees ever. The price you see is the price you pay. Check out our partners today to shop one of Chicago's largest inventories. Don't miss out on the Employee Pricing Plus sales event for huge savings on the Ram 1500. For more information, visit RayCDJR today on Route 12 in Fox Lake or online at RayCDJR.com.
This ad is Baby Joey approved.
Baby Joey!
He was out at Summer League hanging out at his super loft that he has. And the one thing that he just didn't get, he just said, I never understood.
Never understood.
You don't get it. Why? Why you got to pay so much money to look so dang on cool? They don't get it. Well, Shady Rays went out to do something about it. Guess what? They're going to offer you them premium polarized shades for an awesome price, ladies and gentlemen, and they changed the game. Those sunglasses are made for real life, good-looking, polarized, durable, and not ridiculously expensive. And here's the awesome part. And Matt's going to love this. If you lose them or you break them, bow. Even on day one, Shady Rays will send you a brand new pair back on your face. Kaplow. Boom. That's how it goes. So now you can actually wear your sunglasses anywhere you want to go, y'all. We've teamed up with Shady Rays to bring you an exclusive offer as well. Head to ShadyRays.com. Use that code CHGO for 35% off those premium polarized shades. And try for yourself. The shades that are rated 5 stars for over 300,000 people, because it's Shady Rays, y'all, where the Rays are oh so shady.
Welcome back. CHGO Bulls hanging out with y'all for a little longer on Tuesday afternoon. Next, man, bless ESPN's heart for just giving us a couple of dog day treats.
Yeah.
The next one we're talking about, Kevin Pelton, ESPN NBA reporter, revisiting 2024 NBA offseason's biggest deals and regrading them. Kevin Pelton, a big grades guy for transaction in the NBA. Let's start with this one because these trades both actually kind of go all along with what we were just talking about, which is revisiting some of AK and Eversley's missteps when it comes to roster construction. Caruso for Giddey. Yep, brace yourselves. We're going to talk about it a little bit more. Pelton originally gave the Bulls a C- for that trade and the Thunder an A. Fast forward 1 year, he still gives the Thunder, reigning NBA champions, an A, citing the fact that Dagnall really kind of like took it slow with Caruso's minutes through the season.
Rims.
And then come playoff time,
That's it.
Caruso, you're guarding Jokic tonight. Caruso, you're starting.
So rested.
And the Bulls' grade went from a C- a year ago to a C+.
Hey,
Get ready for some optimism, Bulls fans.
you're graduating.
Kevin Pelton said, given a C grade is generally my bar for whether a deal is worth doing, I'd now elevate the Bulls above that threshold.
There you go.
Congrats, AK. Although Chicago still should have acquired even more for Caruso, given his importance to OKC.
I gotta bring up old stuff.
The Bulls are better off with Giddey. Matt, trigger warning. A restricted free agent this summer going forward. Giddey improved his shooting and efficiency last season, nearly averaging a triple-double with an impressive .620 true shooting percentage after the All-Star break.
Listening to your brain melt during mid-read is hilarious, dude.
Triple-double, triple-double, triple-double. But so, look, some positive, reflective thoughts there on somebody who didn't initially love the trade for the Bulls, didn't hate it. It wasn't an F.
No.
But he went from a C- to a C+. Honestly, I could even be talked into feeling similarly, but like make it a D instead of a C.
Oh.
D- to D+ is where I am right now. Just because I'm still not a big believer in the Giddey foundational piece plan. That's okay. That's just me.
Sure.
But I think wherever you are on that spectrum, it's hard to deny feeling better about Giddey after the way he played down the stretch of this past season, while still pointing out, like, you could have gone a different direction with that Caruso trade chip. Could have, but it's a coulda, shoulda, woulda.
Yeah, I mean, I think, like, for me, hearing him say, like, the bar to do the trade was interesting. Because, like, I still don't think that, like, this was a trade, even knowing what I know now about the way that Giddey played, I don't think this is a trade I would do if I was the Bulls, because I think that whatever was going to be behind door number 2 would have been more favorable. Like, I think Giddey has grown on me a ton as a player. Mm-hmm. But like we sat here and said last year, we know he's going to put up triple doubles. We know the stats are going to be big. Mm-hmm. We know he's going to like go through a month or 2 stretch where he looks like he's incredible. And he did. But like we still, even having watched that, we don't know what to make of it, right? Because there was also the downside. There was also the first part of the season where he didn't look good. And now you're in a situation where you have to pay the guy not feeling confident about who he is as a long-term fixture. And I think that's really the question is like, you know, I've heard people make the argument that the Bulls were not going to get a better player, a better young player than Giddey for Caruso. And I don't necessarily think I disagree with that. Like, Giddey is really good, but in some ways that's kind of the problem, is that he's too good to let them be bad. And so you'd almost rather get the picks that could end up being better on a longer, you know, on a rookie scale deal. You've got them cost controlled for longer. And maybe they don't turn out to be as good, but maybe they don't also prevent you from being bad where you can keep going and building through the draft. Now, we know the lottery is a crapshoot. We know that the 11th seed jumped up to 1 this year and the 10th seed jumped up to 1 last. So that's not like a guaranteed path either. But I just think it's like if they just given 1 additional first-round pick, I would feel much better. And like last year at this time or midway through the season, I still might not have felt like that was enough. Like Giddey has played his way into being a pillar for this team, and I don't think that's like a wrong thing to say. Like it may not be the player that you want them to build around, but like he's played well enough to at least earn a chance to continue on down this path. And I think that's kind of what these two sides are negotiating here with the contract. But for me, I just think that like I would in general prefer the draft pick route, because while there's more downside with that, there's also, I think in some ways, a lot more upside.
Yeah. I would hate the trade less if there was a pick with it. I mean, I think that's really that simple.
Yeah. Mark Anderson in the chat just said letting Giddey walk wouldn't hurt as bad if there was also a first-round pick next year.
Like not having a backup plan or something to fall back on or anything like that, and just, you know, free-willing it out there, you know, and just, you know, woo. It's another word I want to use, but I'm not going to use it. But, yeah, just out there that kind of way is the issue. And that's okay to be that kind of way if you're a team that's already winning. It's okay to take those kind of risks. It's okay to make those kind of moves and do those kind of things if something is already in place. When you're still a team that's building and you're still a team that's trying to get to a certain level, and the certain level is the actual playoffs and not just the play-in, that means you're not good enough yet. And so you need to take everything you need and everything you can do and get to try to be a better basketball team. That includes getting a draft pick attached to whatever player your best asset can afford you. And there's no debate, he was the best asset for the Chicago Bulls at that point in time. So they got everything they wanted, which is why the grade theirs didn't change at all. They started with an A. You end with an A. Probably could have gave him an A+ if you wanted to.
With a title in the middle.
You know what I mean?
Right.
With a ring in the middle. And that Caruso shirt, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
With the 4 Carusos on Mount Rushmore. Like, you get that. And with Giddey, what you got was a good player, but still questions. And it's still a good player who's you still haven't signed a contract yet because you're like, oh, man, I don't know. I know that. No, it's fine to have that.
Because of the contract thing you're
But all of that is part of the questions, and the fact that you don't have that piece with you, which is the actual draft pick or draft picks with you, it's just what leaves you just feeling like, damn, sometimes. Like, you would feel more comfortable if you had that, and they should have had that,
and
honestly.
The turn of that knife, to me, you were negotiating with a team that has more draft picks than they know what to do with.
That part.
Then they can make.
Then they can make and add to their current championship roster with a current young core, many of whom just signed big old rich contracts.
That's it. Yeah.
What are you going to use those draft picks for?
Yeah.
Trades.
Yeah.
Speaking to AK's aversion to picks, real quickly before we get out of here, Pelton also regraded the DeMar sign and trade to the Kings last summer. Originally, he gave the Bulls a C, the Kings a C+, and the Spurs an A. Looking back with a year of reflection, he downgraded the Bulls' grade to a D, Sacramento from a C+ to a C-, and Spurs still an A. Pelton said, I gave the Bulls too much credit in the moment, given they didn't end up with either of the two best parts of this trade, DeRozan and the pick swap. Chicago derived little value from DeRozan's bird rights and waived Duarte after he played just 74 minutes. Shout out Chris Duarte.
Shit, for real.
It could have just been like you didn't need to include the Spurs. You just take back Harrison Barnes, and then if you don't take the 2 seconds, maybe get a first, and it's not a pick swap. Like, that one to me was always just like, I get that, like, you get something, but you're doing the Kings a favor by allowing them to create the space in order to sign the free agent.
Yeah.
You're doing the Spurs a favor by giving them the best asset in the trade. Like, what are you getting out of it?
Yeah.
The joy of helping others, Goat.
Duarte, who you waive 2 seconds, one of which you've already traded. Like, just don't do the sign and trade.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really that simple.
You just don't watch the movie Pay It Forward 20 years after the rest of the universe saw it. Post, problematic Spacey, and was like, yes, this movie speaks to me. I'm going to pay it forward.
If they had just taken Harrison Barnes back,
he's a fool.
Like, he would still line up with their free agency 2026 plan because he expired. Like, it just, that made no sense. And, like, they want to
I like this.
They eventually want to, like, bring in good players via trade, right? They trade for Isaac Okoro. They trade for Vooch. Like, they've made moves to bring in players. They obviously, like,
9 to 10 perhaps
weren't super. I don't think they were, like, making the Zach LaVine trade to bring in Kevin Huerter and Zach Collins and Trey Jones, but those guys helped them. Not at first, but those guys really helped them. But, like, my point is, if you get draft picks in these trades, which you could have if you just said, yeah, we'll also take the pick, then you can trade those picks to get players and help. Like, it just, you're making it harder for yourself when you only get the player back, because now you want to keep the player and you have nothing else to move in a trade to bring in more players. Like, there's just, and not using that as currency
hamstrung themselves
is just crazy.
And it's all a vicious cycle because it goes back to what Dave was saying a minute ago. Like, if you are limiting your swings or your bites at the apple, whatever metaphor you want to use, and you miss on a couple of them, like a Patrick Williams, it magnifies the problem. It magnifies the whiff.
It
makes, like, well, we didn't have a draft pick last year.
Right.
We're not going to have a draft pick again the year after that. Like,
it feels like you're missing 2 players. You know what I'm saying? Instead of the one, when it doesn't hit like it's supposed to, because then you're trying to plug a hole. So you're putting in multiple things to try to plug a hole instead of actually repairing it.
It's like Chevy Chase with the piece of gum at the Hoover Dam.
Right, exactly.
What was that, Vegas Vacation?
Yes, exactly. And it made it worse. Because more of them are going to open up, man. So, bro, that's what it's like. And that's why it's frustrating when we sit here and we talk about it, and why I agree with the grades that they're giving out here.
Mark Anderson, speaking of the Bulls and draft picks that might be misses, saying poor Dalen and Julian. 2 names we haven't brought up at all yet today. Okoro's going to take all their minutes.
And also, like, with the DeMar thing, like, they know how this works. Like, they did a sign and trade to get him in the first place. They gave up a pick for that. Like,
you did.
Yep.
Just
It's okay.
Get the pick.
They got,
Bobby, what'd I
but they
say
got their
about
pick
Giddey?
back. They got their pick back. Go. It's
They had to
great.
give up Zach LaVine to do it.
Yeah.
Great work.
I'm not down on Giddey, Bobby. I'm not down on Giddey.
We will have to pause the conversation there for now. We are back tomorrow with another fresh live episode for y'all, 4 p.m. Central Time. Dog Days, Bulls Nation,
Arr.
the true sickos. We are here for y'all. Read GOAT stuff, allchgo.com. Become a diehard so you can read it. Follow him, Will Gottlieb. Big Dave Bow. Big Dave Bow. BWO Sports. I'm Bulls_Peck. We're CHGO_Bulls. That's the queen of our
Brain is
controls, the one and only
breaking.
Katy Duffy. The biggest Jake Gyllenhaal fan.
Oh,
Why are you trying to piss me off right now? The show's over. End the show, Matt.
Because we're rapping. And
End
I'm
the show.
feeling silly.
That's Matt
See Red,
Peck.
Be good. Bye.